When I tell you that I just finished this episode of Mad Men, I mean, I literally just finished it. I am still watching the credits roll, and now I'm 5 episodes in. And, you know, Don Draper, he just doesn't exist. He's not a real thing. He is a figment of someone's imagination. He is trying to create the perfect life. And I have to tell you, a couple episodes ago, I thought I spoiled myself on something huge. So there was that episode where Don Draper got recognized on the train by someone using a different name. I think it was Tim or Tom. They said it in this episode. I've already forgotten. Whitman, maybe. I think Tom Whitman. And I just thought, oh, that's weird. Some mistaken identity, but Don didn't correct the guy. That's weird. Why would he do that, you know? Then I very quickly, after I did my episode, I went to Wikipedia because I wanted to check something. I think I wanted to check an actor's name or something. And it said, oh, Don Draper, the first time he was recognized as this guy. And I thought, oh my God, I've spoiled something huge with Mad Men. This is going to be like an ongoing thing for years to come, and then we're going to find out who Don Draper really is. And I spoiled myself, and I ruined Mad Men for me. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. And just a couple episodes later, we get not a full payoff. Well, we do. Maybe we get the payoff. I don't know. But we realize that Don Draper was this other guy, changed his name to Don Draper to start his new life, escaping his old life for whatever reason. And at least now I can, freely say, okay, Don Draper is this guy's creation. And when they say, oh, Don Draper's backstory, he could be Batman for all we know, or, we don't know. He doesn't talk about this much. It's because he's hiding all of this. And we get a look at it in this episode when we meet his previous existence, his previous life's brother. His little brother growing up, and he saw him in the paper because he won an award. He recognized him, so he came to Sterling Cooper to finally confront his brother and meet his brother. And Don, shuffled him away, but you could see that he was shooken up. So he shuffled him away. I don't even know if that's a word, but I love saying shooken. Shuffles him away, and they're in a meeting. When he comes back from the meeting, what I love stylistic way of shooting things and direction, and I like when I notice these things. Everyone else in the room was kind of in the shadow, and there was just a light on Don's face, and it was real subtle, but it just put the focus on him, and everyone's meeting, and everyone's still talking about the meeting, and he's sitting there just preoccupied, thinking about, probably thinking, oh my God, is everything that I've built here about to go away? Am I going to be exposed? I can't believe I've been found out. But he was found out by his younger brother. So he meets with the guy at a coffee shop and, basically says he admits it to us. He doesn't try to deny it anymore. So for us, we fully see the admission. And he's basically like, I don't want to see you. This didn't happen. I've a life, goodbye. But he was still preoccupied by it majorly, to the point where he gets a letter in the mail, private. Peggy doesn't open it up, and there's an old photo of him in his military garb with a younger version of his brother, and just saying, if you change your mind, it was on Hotel Stationery 5G, and that was the name of the episode, 5G, and was also the 5th episode of Mad Men. So, he could see he was wrestling with it, but he ends up burning the picture. And I thought, Jesus, but luckily, if I smelled something burning in my house, I think I'd be like, hey, what the hell's going on? But you just light up a cigarette, cover it up. But he burns the thing, but he's still preoccupied, still thinking about it, finally decides he needs to see his brother. So he opens a drawer, looks at something, and they never show what it is. And I thought, are they really doing this, or are they tricking us into what we're thinking? Because my first thought was, he's pulling out a gun. Oh my God, he's going to wipe this kid away, and he's going to kill him and to cover up his story. Is Don Draper this kind of guy? Like I I had no idea that he wasn't, quote unquote, a real person. Maybe he's a psychopath. I don't know what this show is going to become. So I thought, oh my God, wouldn't it be amazing if Mad Men is the tale of Mad Men is Don Draper being confronted by people who know him from his previous life, and he's secretly killing them one by one over the years. It's like a weird Dexter thing. That would have been amazing. Obviously that doesn't seem to be what's happening, but he meets with his brother, and you could just see the nervousness on his face. And his brother's like, "Oh, I'll get you this, I'll give you that. Or do you want coffee?" And he's saying like, "Oh, your mother's gone, your uncle's gone, everyone's gone." And I'm thinking, oh man, he's saying that because no one's around to miss you. And he's like, yeah. He goes, of course your uncle thought you were soft. He's like, yeah, but I'm not soft, am I? I thought, oh man, he's gonna shoot him. They keep showing this nervousness on his face. He reaches for his bag. He pulls out $5,000 in cash, basically buying him off, saying, look, you need to go and leave me, and it needs to end here. But he does give him a big hug. So maybe that's the end of, I don't know if that's the end of the storyline. I don't know if that's the end of this character. I don't know. What I like to do sometimes is when I'm watching a show, I like to pull up IMDb and look at the actors in the episode, see why I recognize them from someplace. But I don't want to do that with this one, because I feel like if I look at this actor and it says, oh, he's on 4 episodes of Mad Men, I'm going to be like, oh, shit, he's coming back. We're going to see him again. I'm already spoiled. I like to be surprised when he comes back. So I hopefully I don't run across his IMDb page and see what is going on, see him coming back. Because if he does come back, I'd like it to be completely, a surprise to me. Like I used to watch Lost, and I used to know the actors' names, and in the opening credits you see the actor listed. I thought, oh, he's going to be in this episode. And, things like that. I like to be spoiled. I like to be surprised. So, I don't like to be spoiled. I like to be surprised. I like things to happen. And it's tough when a show is, this many years old to try to not be spoiled on things. I screwed up a little bit, but not that much with the Don Draper previous identity. Now, that's not the only thing that happened in this episode. There's a lot of other things that happened in this episode. Most of it was dealing with jealousy of different guys working in the advertisement. So Kenneth Cosgrove, now I remember his name. They say it enough in this episode. He published a short story in the Atlantic Monthly. They said he has 2 novels too. I assume that means these novels are written. I don't know if they're published. I assume this means I don't know if these novels are published out there, if they're just his personal thing. But the other guys, the other account execs were so jealous. One guy rips it out of the paper, basically saying, like, you did this, I should be doing this. And he rips it out of the magazine, and later is like, I'm sorry, I just, I didn't realize I was competing with you. And Ken just looks at him and goes, I won. And you lost. And he walked away. And that was awesome. We don't know much about this guy yet. This is really the first expansion, first look into anything extra with him. So I don't know how much he's in the future. I have no idea. So far, he's just been a bit player. But seeing that he has this other side of him, the side that is a published writer, was cool to see. And seeing the other guys get jealous was funny. Pete, most of all, pulls out a short story that he said he worked on for a year. I have no idea. Gives it to his wife to read. She thought it was okay. And he's like, you have a friend that you used to date in publishing. Can you go get this published? Well, she goes and gets the meeting with this guy. And he's like, I miss you. I miss you bad, baby. Take me back. And she's like, I can't. And I don't know what the hell happened, but it turns out she did get him published in Boy's Life. That must have been the favor of, hey, thanks, Trudy. And she's like, I could have got you in the New Yorker or what is it, Reader's Digest? I could have got you in something else. And he was like, well, why didn't you? And she's like, I can't, Pete. And my thought is, wait, did Pete know that this guy would probably be looking for some lovin'? And was Pete okay with Trudy giving it up to get his story published? And what's funny is this all goes back to Pete's dad. He's like, my dad reads The Atlantic. So his dad's going to read The Atlantic, see a short story from someone who works at Sterling Cooper, and it's not his son. And he's going to look at his son like, what the hell? How come you aren't in the Atlantic? But he is in Boy's Life. He could be, next to an exploding cigar advertisement. I used to get Boy's Life, I think, when I was in the Scouts. I don't remember reading. I just remember looking for ads for cool knives, like Rambo knives. I think that's, also, Peggy overheard Don. I'm still going to call you Don Draper. Peggy overheard Don talking to his girlfriend. Don went to his girlfriend's house, and she's like, the girlfriend referred to herself as his medicine. It seems like that's almost the case where Don's all freaked out, shooken up, and, he's kind of, not all there. He's out to lunch sometimes with his family, but when he's with his girlfriend, it kind of squares him and grounds him. And what my first thought was, does this girlfriend know he's Don Draper? What if she knows him as the previous identity as well? But she called the office, so she obviously knows who Don Draper is. And that was that side of things. I'm trying to think what else we had. Peggy kind of realizing that Don has a girlfriend, trying to cover for him when he has a girlfriend, but really he was out with his brother because the Draper family came in for a family photo. The family photos actually came out kind of funny, and Betty called her daughter fat, which was, interesting. I don't know if that's going to be an ongoing thing, but I just what an awful thing to say. And those photos, Don's look in every photo made me actually laugh. So that was going on there. I'm trying to think what else happened. I mean, the account this week was for a bank, and they talking about having a bank account so you can step out on your wife and have a private fund so they don't see what's going on. It was funny they're talking about, women don't really handle the banking. They don't really go into the bank. It's really a man's thing. Maybe we're targeting the women and we're targeting the family, but really should be targeting the man. And they come up with an executive account, basically a private account. The account, the slips come to the office, discretionary. Really what it means is, so you can have money to do whatever the hell you want behind your family's back. But it sounds fancy. And the bank guy actually thought it was a really good idea because these guys are really doing it already. We just didn't have a way of charging them or naming it. So that's advertising for you. Come up with something special that people are already doing, give it a special name, charge people for it. Now they think they're getting special treatment. Really, they've already been doing it. And I think that covers most of this episode. We got to see Joan a little bit more. She kind of knows how to play the game in the office, and she loves it, it seems like. She had a big smile on her face. She has no problem talking back to these guys in the office, and she is like the head woman, but she's only a woman in their minds. And also another thing I like to see, I like when there is a lot of action going on in a scene, but none of it has anything to do with the scene except as background. So like in the Sterling Cooper office, we see Peggy walking through, but there's so much going on. People are having conversations. People are working at their desk. People are typing. And none of it has anything to do with the storyline. It's just part of the slice of life, part of what makes it feel real, where you're looking at Peggy in the distance and all this stuff is happening around you and all this stuff is happening simultaneously, and it has to happen at the perfect time, as far as when you're making the movie, direction, everything. Everyone has to have this, talking and background, but none of it serves the purpose of the story. I just love little details like that. Really, that is it, I think. I think I covered everything in this episode. 5 episodes in of Mad Men, 5 episodes in of Made Man, and this episode was called 5G. It's funny, I wonder if we're already at the point in the history of Mad Men when this has become like a phenomenon. I'm looking back now, I already know Mad Men was a huge hit. They're only 5 episodes in on this show. They've already created a lot of intrigue with their main character, and great acting, great directing, great characters. And, was it a huge hit 5 episodes in, or was it like people start talking about it? Did it get huge buzz? Was it, this big cultural thing already? I'm curious, when did it hit? Because who knows, they're making these episodes right now. Maybe they got a season, AMC gave them a season, and they're making these things going, I hope this catches on. They don't know what they're doing now. By season 2, then you realize you have a show and you can kind of, go for it. Where in this, I don't know if that makes a difference, but you have fans and you can start telling these grandiose long form stories. Whereas in this first season, I mean, not that they're not doing it, but you have to think, we're making the show. I hope it catches on. Well, obviously it caught on. I wouldn't be here if it didn't. And I'm going to be here again next week and every week for the I'm going to be here next week and every week for the foreseeable future. Now, who knows? Maybe I'll have 2 episodes a week sometimes. I was thinking that, watching 1 episode of Mad Men a week is tough. I want to watch another one. But if I watch it, I want to podcast about it right away. Do I want to wait a whole week before I put that podcast out? I don't know. But I've been doing it so far, and I've appreciated everyone who's been listening and downloading and subscribing. And I feel like there might even be some people out there whose last name isn't Morris who are listening and subscribing. Thank you too. But thank you if your last name is Morris as well. I appreciate it. Now, where can you find me online? Well, on Twitter, MadeManPod. On Facebook, Fans Not Experts. The website is fansnotexperts.com. If you just go to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, just search Made Man or search Mad Men. You should find us either way. So you can subscribe, download, tell your friends, make new friends, and then tell them. Help me. Help me achieve the status that I'm going for. Help me as I go on this journey to become a made man.
Fans Not Experts.